Today, we will learn subtraction of decimal numbers. Shelley wants to cover 4 sides of the tablecloth with a lace. Shelley has 4.5 meters length of lace. She used 2.35 meters of lace to cover the tablecloth. What is the length of the remaining lace with her? In order to find the length of the remaining lace, we need to subtract these two decimal numbers. However, the subtraction of decimal numbers is done in the same way as we do subtraction of whole numbers. But while subtracting decimal numbers, it is necessary to take care of a few things related to the subtraction of these numbers. In this video, let us learn an interesting way to perform the subtraction of decimal numbers. We need to find what will be the value when 2.35 is subtracted from 4.50. So let's solve it. We already know that any decimal number has a whole part to the left side of the decimal point and a part of the whole to the right side of the decimal point. For example, in 4.50, 4 is the whole number and 50 is the hundredths. Similarly, in 2.35, 2 is the whole number and 35 is the hundredths. To subtract these numbers, we will draw a square and consider each square as one whole or one unit. In 4.5, 4 is the whole, so we will take 4 squares, and to represent 50 hundredths, we will take another square and divide it into 100 parts. We will shade 50 parts out of the 100 equal parts. In 2.35, 2 is the whole, so we take 2 squares, and to represent 35 hundredths, we will take another square and divide it into 100 parts and shade 35 out of the 100. Now, we will subtract 2.35 from 4.50. Since there are 4 squares here, after removing 2 squares will remain. Similarly, after removing 35 parts from 50 parts of the hundredths, 15 parts will remain. So tell me how we can write 2 wholes and 15 parts in decimal form. Think for a while. You got it right. We will write it as 2.15. Since there are 2 wholes and 15 hundredths, therefore, the length of the remaining lace is 2.15 meters. In mathematics, subtraction of decimal numbers is done in the same way we do subtraction of whole numbers. To do subtraction, we will write the number from which another number is being subtracted on the top. Below this, we write the number being subtracted. While doing so, we need to take care of the place values. The numbers with the same place value should be written in the same column. Otherwise, the result will be incorrect. That's why we will write the units 4 and 2 in the same column, the tens 5 and 3 in the same column. Similarly, we will write the hundredths 0 and 5 in the same column. In some cases, the number of digits after the decimal point might not be equal. What do we do in such cases? Think for a while. You got it right. We need to put 0 at the empty place and make the number of digits equal. Since the number of digits in both of these numbers is the same, we don't need to do so. As we have arranged the numbers one below the other, now we can subtract these numbers. You might have remembered that we move from right to left while doing subtraction. So first, we will subtract 5 from 0. But we cannot do it because 0 is smaller than 5. Therefore, we will borrow 1 from the digit left to the 0. By doing so, the value of the digit in the tens place will be reduced by 1. That means it will be reduced to 4 from 5. Since the value at the tens place is 10 times the value at the hundredths place, therefore, if we borrow 1 from the tens place, then the value at the hundredths place will be 10. In brief, 1/10 will be equal to 10 hundredths. Now, in the hundredths place, there are 10 and 0. The total will be 10 plus 0 is equal to 10. Now, we can subtract 5 from 10. So the result in the hundredths place will be 5. Similarly, we can do the subtraction of digits at the 10th place. Subtracting 3 from 4, the result in the tens place will be 1. We will write the decimal point as it is. By writing it, we can divide the whole from the part of a whole. Now, we will subtract the digits at units place. Subtracting 2 from 4 gives you 2, which we will write at the place of units. So in this way, we have subtracted 2.35 from 4.50 and got 2.15. Therefore, the length of the remaining lace with Shelley is 2.15 meters. So can you do the subtraction on decimal numbers now? Try and solve this problem. A milkman has 23.250 liters of milk. Out of this, he could sell 19.750 liters of milk. So find out the remaining amount of milk. If you get 3.5 liters as your answer, then congratulations, because you have learnt the subtraction of decimal numbers properly. Today, we have learned subtraction of decimal numbers. In the next video, we will see some more examples related to decimal numbers. Today, we will see examples on the subtraction of decimal numbers. Madhu has covered a distance of 36.423 kilometers. She covered 31.8 kilometers by ship and the remaining distance by bus. What is the distance Madhu had covered by bus? From the example, it is clear that Madhu has covered a total distance of 36.423 kilometers. Out of this, she covered 31.8 kilometers by ship. We need to find the distance covered by her by bus. In order to find this, we need to subtract the distance covered by ship from the total distance she has travelled. Therefore, the distance covered by bus is equal to 36.423 kilometers minus 31.8 kilometers. To do the subtraction of these numbers, we will represent them one below the other according to their place values, so that the digits with the same place value come under the same column. We will write zeros at the place of the hundreds and thousands after 8. Can you tell me why we do this? Think for a while. Let me tell you. We do this because it is necessary to make the number of digits equal in both numbers. Since we can write any number of zeros to the right side of the decimal point, there will be no change in the value of the number. So let's subtract these. By subtracting the digits at thousands place, we get 3 at the thousands place as the result. By subtracting the digits at hundreds place, we get 2 at the hundreds place as the result. We cannot subtract the digits at tens place because the digit in the first row is smaller than the digit in the second row. So, we will borrow 1 from the units place. By doing so, the digits at units place is reduced to 5. 1 unit is equal to 10 tenths. That means there are 10 and 4 at the tens place. That is 14. We can subtract 8 from 14. Then we get 6 at the tens place as the result. And now, if we subtract the digits at units place, we get 4 at the units place as the result. Similarly, by subtracting the digits at tens place, we get 0 at the tens place of the result. As you can see, that 4 is at the units place, 6 at the tens place, 2 at the hundreds place, and 3 is at the thousands place. Therefore, we can say that 36.423 minus 31.8 is equal to 4.623. That is, Madhu has covered 4.623 kilometers by bus. Next example. Anand's bank account contains rupees 3,200. If he spends rupees 2,879.85 on online shopping, then how much money is left in his account? The total money in Anand's account is rupees 3,200 rupees. He spent rupees 2,879.85 on the online shopping. Therefore, the remaining amount is equal to total amount minus amount spent on shopping. That is, rupees 3,200 minus rupees 2,879.85. In order to obtain the result of this subtraction, let us write these decimal numbers one below the other. Take care to write the digits according to their place value. We cannot subtract the digits at hundreds place because 0 is smaller than 5. So, we need to borrow 1 from the tens place. But there is nothing to give at the tens place. So, we now borrow from the units place. But there is also nothing to give at the units place. So, we will borrow from the tens place. Here also, there is 0. So, it will borrow from the hundreds place. By doing so, 1 remains at hundreds place. 100 is equal to 10 tens. Therefore, we will add the digit at tens place with 10. Now, the value at this place is 10. If we give 1 from this to the units, 9 remains at the tens place. 110 is equal to 10 units. That means there are 10 units at the unit place. If we give 1 from this to the tens, 9 remains at units place and 10 at the tens place. In this way, we will keep borrowing. Now, the value at hundredth place is 10. Subtracting 5 from 10, we get 5, which is written in the hundreds place in the result. Similarly, by subtracting 8 from 9 at the tens place, we get 1, which is written in the tens place in the result. By calculating the same way, we get the result as 320.15 rupees. Now pause the video and try to understand how we solve this. Thus, the remaining money in Anand's account after the shopping is rupees 320.15. Today, we have seen examples on the subtraction of decimal numbers. In the next video, we will clear some misconceptions related to it. Today, we will see misconceptions and common mistakes related to subtraction of decimal numbers. Misconception 1. The height of a tree is 9.336 meters and the height of another tree is 7.51 meters. Find out the difference between these two heights. To subtract 7.51 meters from 9.336 meters. To do this subtraction, 9.336 is written first. The other decimal number is written right below it. But while writing this, students make a common mistake. To make the number of digits equal, they write 7.51 as 7.051. In brief, they write 0 right next to the decimal point. With this misunderstanding, the students get the result as 2.285 meters. Therefore, option 1 is incorrect. In 7.51, there are 7 units, 5 tenths and 1 hundredths. But in the number after placing 0, there are 7 units, 0 tenths, 5 hundredths and 1 thousandth. The value of these two numbers is not equal. That's why placing 0 right next to the decimal point in this number is incorrect. The correct understanding is that we have to place 0 after the decimal number. That is, after number 1. So, there will be no change in the value of the number. With this understanding, the correct result of subtraction is found as 1.826 meter, which is option 2. Now let us see some common mistakes done by the students while performing subtraction of decimal numbers. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Rahul and Rakesh participated in an exam. Rahul got 80.1% of marks in the exam and Rakesh got 79.67%. What is the difference between the percentages they both obtained? To find out the difference between the percentages, we need to subtract the smaller decimal number from the bigger decimal number. Some students compare the decimal numbers in the wrong way. They think that since 79.67 has 4 digits, it is greater than 80.1. With this understanding, they try to subtract 80.1 from 79.67, which will give an incorrect answer. Some students get it right, that is, 79.67 has to be subtracted from 80.1. But they don't use 0 to make the number of digits equal after the decimal point. They think that subtracting 7 from the blank above gives the result of 7 only. So, they write 7 in the result. Then, they do the subtraction of the remaining digits. This is also incorrect. Some students use 0 to make the number of digits equal after the decimal point, but while doing subtraction, they simply subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. Here, they subtract 0 from 7 and write 7 as the answer. 1 is subtracted from 6 and 5 is written as the answer. This is incorrect. Another common mistake is that students ignore to borrow. Here, 7 cannot be subtracted from 0. So, 1 is borrowed and 1 is written as it is without reducing it. By doing so, they get 11.53 as the result, which is also incorrect. The correct understanding is that we have to subtract 79.67 from 80.1. We will write 0 after 1 to make the values equal in digits, and then we will do the subtraction as shown below. Pause the video and understand the concept. By doing so, the correct answer will be 0.43. Today, we have seen misconceptions and common mistakes related to subtraction of decimal numbers.